Content warning. Try that again. Content warning. This podcast contains bones, blood, smut, and swear words. Ooh.
Before we get into the good shit this week, we wanted to remind you that we have a Patreon. For just $2 an episode, you get 2 pieces of fabulous bonus content a month. For July, we're reviewing one of my all-time faves, the famed documentary about lifeguards, Baywatch, narrated by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And so, if you would like to sponsor John's new project, which is reenacting the Revolutionary War with skeletons, you can head to patreon.com/frontline5th or follow the link in the show notes, okay? Now back to that sweet, sweet Bone Zone action.
Wait. Real quick before we start this week, we want to give a shout out to our listener, Corey. Corey drew the S in high school and therefore is not only inherently cool, but also a certified bone witch. Okay, now back to that sweet, sweet Bone Zone action.
Congratulations! You get one more interruption. We have decided to give ourselves just a little vacation time this summer, so we will be taking 2 weeks off after this episode releases. But don't worry, Frontline 5th will return August 18th. Okay, now back to that sweet, sweet Bone Zone action. Act 1. Welcome, penitents. Hello and welcome to the Frontline 5th, a Locked Tomb podcast where newly minted lictors explore the Locked Tomb series for the first time, while a couple of dried-out bone witches cackle over how little they really know. We're currently reading Harrow the Ninth by Tamsin Muir, and this week we are opening our own frontal lobes in chapters 38, 39, and the Epiparados. I'm Marie, and I'm quite adept with a scalpel. But I'll need my sister Hannah, who's coming in hard with the hammer. Hannah, what petty necromantic trick would you play on someone for failing to include you in their dark and secretive plans?
I think that I would disrupt kind of the fluid in their ears just a little bit, such that they're always a little bit off balance.
Oh my God.
I think it could really fuck you up.
No kidding.
No, that is so mean. Like the people who have constant vertigo. Oh, that's evil.
Oh, that might be too mean. We'll come back to it. I was trying
really
for
mean.
a petty trick that may have gone too far.
It might cross the line.
Okay.
Again, I'm not good at pranks. I only go too big or too small. I'm not good at it.
Do not fuck with Hannah is what we have learned. Also with us today are our genius 3-year-olds, Brooke and John. Brooke, John, what petty necromantic insult would you foist upon someone who kept you out of the loop?
So, the hair thing is actually brilliant, I think. But what would be even slightly worse was not the hair follicles, but your nails. Cutting your nails is the worst freaking task. And to have to do that like every 3 days would be so fucking annoying.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
I was going to say, in a similar actual kind of to Hannah here, my thought was really around messing with their mind in some way, but mostly sending like tiny constructs to like move their car keys around their house, or like move things just enough that they're worried like that they're losing their minds, or like
Army of weenie constructs making weenie changes.
Yeah, just make weenie changes, or like disconnect the starter in their car, just like the tiny things that are like really going to just bother them and annoy their day, but only for my worst enemies, which I don't really have any right now, so it is what it is.
It's beautiful.
I mean, yeah, a problem. So, well, we finally made it back to the prologue. So, now that you know, what tickled you about these chapters?
Tickled me? We're back to where we started. Actually, we went backwards.
You're not wrong.
Jesus.
I feel like I simultaneously got a lot out of these chapters and also got nothing.
There's a theme here.
Yes.
You're like, I am rich in facts and information and new things. I don't know what to do with it.
Yes. The theme of Harrow thus far has been giving you a puzzle, and every week we get more puzzle pieces, but like not necessarily for the puzzle we're working on. And so right now I have like 8 puzzles on my table, and they all fit together into a larger puzzle. Like, yeah, this week I just feel like I got a bunch of puzzle pieces and I'm plugging them into puzzles, but like I can't put the bigger puzzle together yet. I'm still lost and confused. My mega theorem got blown to shit, so like I don't really know. I don't know what to do. Just reading on, I guess. Here,
your mega theorem's not completely blown to shit.
The mega theorem I think has good pieces, but like there's several gaping plot holes that yeah. That's hilarious. But like there's no way to like
nerds.
I can't square the circle at this point, right? Like it's just like there's several unanswered pieces that are just like in my mega theorem. Similar to like if you got shot by a 18th century musket. Hannah and I went to go see a historical thing yesterday in Boston, and we went to see this house from the 1700s that still has the bullet holes from when like after the Battle of Lexington and Concord. Did not know this. Now you're all forced to learn this because this is my fun fact yesterday. Like the military shoots like 5.56, like NATO is like the standard like round. The British were shooting bullets that are 4 times bigger than that. They're basically mini cannonballs. They're like 20 caliber.
Holy shit.
Like, yeah, because like Hannah was like, how did these bullets go through this house? It went through like 3 layers of wood.
It would go through multiple walls. You could like track across.
Yeah. Because they're shooting mini cannonballs out of guns that are 5 feet long and like using like a metric like fuck ton of gunpowder. Anyway.
Can I also say, I realize that John has gone off the rails here a little bit, but in general, I feel like guns would be bad against skeletons, but these fucking, musket balls really could do some damage to a skeletal construct.
So I think we should be that would be useful,
appropriate,
right? Yeah, I think this is something we should remember for the future. My big takeaway from these chapters this time was what a truly gifted actress Ianthe is. Because what we know from this chapter is that Ianthe has known that this is Harrow's deficit the entire time. And she has kept it entirely secret, not just from Harrow, but from all the other lictors.
Is
she's ensorcelled.
Yeah, I was going to say,
she is ensorcelled.
Is she a good actress?
She can't talk about it, but she can also, she certainly could indicate to other people that she knows why Harrow is broken. And instead, like, Ianthe keeps her cards so close to her chest that it makes me wonder what else she knows.
True.
What tickled me about this chapter is because that was actually the question. I will actually answer the question like Brooke. What tickled me was I did an immersive thing this week, which I rarely do, which is I was listening to the chapters as I was reading them. And so as I was listening to the end of the Epiparados, I actually flipped back to the first page of the prologue to double check that it was identical, and it is.
Yeah, me too.
So.
Yeah. I don't know if that would call that tickling. I guess back to my initial point.
We back to the beginning.
Somebody just copy pasted, which is fair. I mean, it allows you to know exactly where we're at. But I feel a little bit like I've spent. How long have we been working on Harrow?
Months at this point.
As tortured, stunted readers. It's been that long, and we got back to the beginning.
Congrats! Let's go on to memes.
So tickled.
So I don't know that these are completely, I guess they're kind of memes. So I'll start out with a reference, and I only caught it when I was listening. And it starts out now I don't remember which chapter starts out calling the heralds the ghost of a swiftly murdered planet. I think that is referencing Swiftly Tilting Planet, which is the title of one of the books in the Madeleine L'Engle.
Oh my God.
Wrinkle in Time series. Books. Yeah.
I loved those.
And then you have the very old meme of gotta go see a man about usually a horse. Which is just a way to excuse yourself out of a situation. So that is that cryptic last line of
the Epiparados.
I think that's the second oldest meme that we've had on this.
Yeah.
See a man about a horse?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of up there with Kilroy.
Yeah, it's right
is that a modern phrase?
It's just like old dudes, usually when they have to go pee.
I thought it was older than Kilroy, but less old than the copper merchant meme that we threw up at one point. Although that wasn't from the book. That was just something we referenced. Yeah.
It's a reference to a very old phrase. It's not actually. It's not a meme.
Yeah.
Yes, but all memes are as one here. The Bible is to Shakespeare is to half of the pizza, no left beef thing.
Yeah,
That's right. First try, Hannah.
Good job. Good job. And then very vague memes that are kind of more of ideas of, someday I'll marry that girl.
And then I wanted to bring up that for me, a self-lobotomy to erase your memory, to obscure your secret, elaborate plan that you have is literally the plot of Sappho Beeblebrox in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Which I've tried to read it. I've tried to read that, but I've also realized that British parody humor is to my detriment, not my thing, which is why, although I understand that Hitchhiker's Guide is a classic and Terry Pratchett is a genius, they're
You
not
have a
my
hard
thing.
time
and I
reading.
can't
They're
get
not
it.
for you.
Yeah, they're not
Whereas
for me.
they totally work for me. I adore Douglas Adams. Tickles me to death.
I want to so bad,
It's
and I've just
so
never
okay.
been there. Yeah.
I think we should all accept that it's okay to not enjoy some things that other people enjoy.
Yeah.
What? No. Everyone needs to like what I like and hate what I hate. Otherwise, we have issues.
Thank you, John.
Well, let's move on to my favorite thing, which is unhinged SAT prep, because we've gone completely off the rails at this point. So I would like you to choose. I've got 4 words here, and we are going to choose our favorite word out of these, and you're going to describe them as an ice cream flavor.
I love this. Genius, genius, genius.
Okay, take it away, John.
So I got puerile, which is basically just childish, really. So my ice cream flavor for that would be it's birthday cake ice cream with just a ludicrous amount of extra toppings. So it's like extra jimmies, extra, or I guess sprinkles, depending on where you are from
so cute. He's from Philly.
Yeah. Extra sprinkles / jimmies, and then like gummy worms, crumbled Reese's, like cherries. Like we're loading this birthday cake up with like every single flavor, every single topping that's in the topping bin at like your local ice cream parlor.
That's amazing.
And that's the flavor.
Perfect. Okay, what do you got, Brooke?
I have an ice cream of stolidity. I actually just kind of guessed at the definition of this, and somehow it worked out great. It's a slightly onomatopoetic word. I guess it means a state of being unemotional and impassive, showing little or no reaction to events or stimuli. And I described this ice cream as being extremely cold, like hard, cold, immediate brain freeze. And it lacks any flavor beyond that of just the milk. So it's like the opposite of John's.
Love.
I did befuddling, and I think befuddling is like a fudge sundae. It's got brownie chunks and walnuts in it, and you order it because you're really excited about it, and then discover that it also has some weird shit. Like it's maybe got, cranberries and mustard swirls, and I'm trying to think about what else is. And you're just like, why would you make this? Who chose this? That's what befuddling the ice cream flavor is.
That's so fair.
Okay, I'm going to take us out with redolent. Which as a definition is strongly reminiscent of, but also always makes me think of fragrant. And so this is a rosewater ice cream, but also with flavors of rosemary and lavender.
Ooh.
That sounds amazing.
Which one of these do we actually want? I kind of want puerile or redolent.
I want redolent.
Honestly.
Ditto.
Redolent.
I am puerile.
I would try one like spoonful of befuddling just because I want to see what cranberries and mustard together taste like.
No.
I want to know. I would try befuddling, but I wouldn't want like a whole thing. And if we were going to just have, I would want a cup of redolent, but I would want a cone of puerile.
Yes. Oh God, that was a beautiful description all the way through.
And nobody wants
befuddling.
stolidity.
You can't look away. No one wants stolidity.
I actually really like the flavor of lactose, so I wouldn't be mad about it.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, Brooke
Wait,
wants
Brooke, do
stolidity.
you work with dairy? Brooke, how do you feel about cows?
Well, with that, dear listener, sit back and sanitize your scalpels as we present Harrow the Ninth, episode 14, What It Is to Be Fractured. Act 2, Nobody Would Come For You.
This section of Frontline 5th is safe for anyone who has read through the Epiparados in Harrow the Ninth.
Let's recap. Chapter 38, 7th House Skull. Zombie under the bed. Ianthe sees nothing. The Saint of Duty pulled too many punches. Chapter 39, B Skull. The Heralds arrive.
We are rapidly approaching the end, and it is clear, finally, even to Harrow, that she is going to die. And she is going to die alone, because even the body has fully disappeared. And she's come to a final resignation. So nothing can really perturb her anymore until one night she drops a glove down the side of her bed, and when she looks underneath to grab it, she sees the cold, dead-ass body of Cytherea I.
Oh my god.
My thing is, like, my first thought would very much be, how long has that been down there? Have I been sleeping for months on top of a dead body?
Right, like, has that been there since the last time I saw it trying to kill Ortis the First?
Love this shit.
So she tries to rouse it with a classic, "Get up, I can see you!" But that doesn't do anything, so she shackles the body to the floor with Bone, and she goes to get her sister Ianthe. And Ianthe is super not happy about being dragged from her bed in the middle of the night, and she looks underneath and says, "What am I looking at?" And Harrow is desperate for confirmation from Ianthe, desperate for confirmation that this is not simply her madness. And Ianthe just says, "Good night, Harrow Hark," and walks out of the room. And I think she says something like, "Have mercy, Ianthe," and she just, like, walks away.
It's exactly the opposite, right, of Harrow's experiences with Crux, where she could reliably ask him to help her understand the world. And Ianthe is her only source of comfort here, her only source of trust, except she also does not trust Ianthe, right? Like, so it's this very uncomfortable thing where she desperately needs someone to help her understand what's going on, and it's the wrong person. But there is no right person. There's no one she can rely on.
So she splashes some water on her face, takes some breaths to steady herself. She goes back to look at the body, and it has fully disappeared, leaving only the cuffs of bone glued to the floorboards.
What a mindfuck this, like, beginning of this chapter was.
Yeah.
Now what? I, like, went back and checked several times. I was like, was it just, like, a quick hallucination? But, like, no, like, she, like, double checks. She's like, when Ianthe's down there looking at it, she's looking at it too. She, like, touched it earlier, and she's like, she said she could feel God's, like, necromancy, which, by the way, is described really weird as hot lemon scour of his divine necromancy. The fuck is a hot lemon scour?
I was picturing it as like that, like clean, like that mop, like industrial strength floor cleaner.
Yeah, like that floor cleaner
Lemon
smell,
pledge.
but that floor cleaner smell that, like, goes up your sinuses. That's really unpleasant.
That's an interesting description of someone.
So it's like clean, but it's unpleasant clean.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, what the fuck, huh?
Yeah, I don't know.
Still,
I got
like,
nothing.
this is something that I have never truly, like, this is one we can all speculate. I have never truly determined for myself whether or not I think that Cytherea's body is here or not. Like, what do you think, Hannah?
What's the point of throwing it in?
Yeah, I mean, I think Brooke's point there actually is important, right? Like, why even have this moment? And that itself is not clear to me. I think it's not totally clear whether or not it's there. But I think one of the craziest things is that when it disappears, like, let's assume it was there. If there was a body there, Ianthe, maybe it's invisible to Ianthe, maybe Ianthe is gaslighting her. But what we know with absolute certainty is that if it disappears, it leaves behind the bone cuffs that should have been shackling it, which means that either someone, like, removed it and remade the bone cuffs, or that it was able to somehow, like,
just poof,
get out of them. It makes no sense to me. And I agree, Brooke, also, like, how does it get through Harrow's wards in the first place? And
It's
I feel like
very
this
much
is something actually that happened with Cytherea at the beginning, like, when she becomes a zombie and she's, like, rattling the door, she doesn't set off the wards. Although I also don't know that the outside of the door would have that. I don't fucking know. It's a weird thing to include. It's a weird moment.
Great. So that one, let's not dwell on that. We're not going to get any satisfaction anytime soon.
It's also just really weird. So, like, this was my thought, was like the body has disappeared, right? Like, so, like, the spirit that was haunting Harrow is now gone, and then shortly after that, Cytherea's body shows up and nobody else can see it, and we've just, like, replaced one, like, unseeable ghost body with another.
I think it's also interesting to note, so the last time we saw Cytherea, she was basically putting the Saint of Duty into the incinerator, right? And then disappeared. And the last thing that happens in those chapters is Jod says that he cannot detect her body anywhere on the station, which is bonkers. He's as close to omnipotent in terms of necromancy as anybody could be.
And she apparently has a signature of his own power on her body, according to Harrow's like interpretation of touching it.
Unclear how much of this is real, unclear how much information people are sharing correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah, just absolute holy. And like you said, it was just like an absolute crazy way to start this set of chapters.
Yeah.
And then let's go even weirder. So on the last day, the Saint of Duty attempts one last murder, but Harrow, finding almost a moment of freedom and clarity, does not try to protect herself or fight back. She says, "There's no reason to kill me."
I'd be dying in like 10 hours.
We do get a cool, like, when she gets slammed into the bone pillar, she, like, makes pistons out of bone and basically, like, throws him across the hallway. And then they, like, he's like, all right, well, let's have an actual duel. Like, you know, draw your rapier. And she's like...
Like, with frustration, he's like, draw your sword. And she goes for the two-hander, and he's like, your rapier. He's, like, mad at her.
I'm going to be so mad if we never figure out what the rapier thing is. Like, if it's just, like, so that, like, skinny necromancer arms can hold swords, like, fine. Like, that's fine with me. But it seems like there's some deeper thing.
We get this weird conversation where Ortis the First tells her she still is a liability, even before number 7 comes. And he tells her not to go to the river, just to simply kill herself before the beast gets a chance so that she won't suffer. He cares whether or not she suffers because he feels guilty for failing her. He pulled too many punches. And then he says, sorry, this wasn't my idea.
Jesus
and
fucking Christ.
Walks away, leaving Harrow and Brooke with even more questions.
I just love that, like, this is the first time we see extremely relatable feelings. And she's like, what is it, like, whose idea? You called after him and your voice rose to a shriek. Whose idea?
It is actually
a moment of
so
animation.
Frustrating. And it's a moment of animation, but it's also a moment of like almost childishness. And she's actually not childish. She's like this kid who had to grow up really fast. And I appreciate that she's kind of breaking down, not at being almost murdered over and over, but at the fact that she doesn't understand why she's being almost murdered over and over.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, we still don't have an answer for that. Like, by the way, like, we're still just sitting here like, why is Ortis trying to murder? Yeah, anyway.
We get to also be shrieking down the hallway with Harrow. What the fuck, essentially. And the next day, the heralds begin to arrive and thunking into the surface of the Mithraeum. And whenever they land near Harrow, she can feel the horrifying full body fear overwhelm her senses. And they keep coming thump, thump, thump into the hole for hours. They're about to breach, and Harrow walks to her death like a lover.
I do think it's really, like, it's so well written about how, like, Harrow, like, throws up and, like, blacks out and stuff, but then, like, gets herself slightly more under control and, like, is able to at least, like, be conscious while that's going on. And meanwhile, like, Ianthe's literally just, like, screaming into the transmitter. And, like, Harrow's, like, I guess, like, internal strength, just, like, she's terrified, but, like, she, like, you know, bottles it up, sections it off, and, like, she's able to function just a little bit compared to a lot of, like, it seems like the necromancers just losing their minds.
Yeah, like it's like she almost has like a stranger, like a contempt for a stranger's fear.
Yeah, which is a weird way to phrase things. Any thoughts on why we call the fear from a herald a stranger's insanity?
I read it as contempt for her own fear because, and it makes it easier to like section it off. Like that's what you're gonna throw at me? Like I've already been through like ridiculous things. I've already been through shit. Too. And like this is gonna be the thing? Like contempt for a stranger's fear. Like thrust upon you and being like, nah.
Anyway, Harrow's a badass.
Yeah.
I worry about her.
Oh yeah. She's not okay. But then we get 9 months and 29 days previously. Act 3, Contempt for a Stranger's Insanity.
Let's recap. Epiparados, third house skull. 9 months and 29 days before the Emperor's murder. Harrow Hark Nonagesimus and Ianthe Tridentarius, brain surgeons. It's a spin-off show that I would watch. It's like Grey's Anatomy, but it's just Ianthe and Harrow.
Featuring John as the chief of medicine. Yeah, that would be interesting.
Harrow Hark Nonagesimus passes 24 handwritten letters to Ianthe Tridentarius, 22 of which are written in her own unbreakable cursed code. Ianthe reminds Harrow Hark that what they are doing might fail, that there could be catastrophic repercussions, but Harrow Hark is absolutely insistent. She has committed to this path. She asked Ianthe for her help, not because of her brilliance, and not because she is a murderer, a con woman, a cheat, a liar, a slitherer, and embodies the worst flaws of her house.
Boom, roasted.
I'm hugely bored of hearing all my flaws, said Ianthe. But because Ianthe understands what it is to be fractured.
Is that referring to Nibirius?
No. It's referring to not having her sister with her.
Okay.
That's what I
She
think.
is, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think Ianthe and Corona have been one person for a really long time. They literally show up to Canaan House. You're supposed to have one necromancer and one cavalier. But Corona and Ianthe are inseparable. They might as well be one. And now they are split. Like, now they can no longer be together.
Can I also just say that this set of paragraphs is where I'm now 100% convinced that Gideon is the child of God and no one can tell me anything else, because they talk about they tell us the ineffectiveness about blood wards. Like there's a whole thing about blood wards.
Tell me the lines about the blood wards, John.
Well, you're gonna spill some blood over the years, and so if someone just gets your blood and just apparently just splashes it on the blood ward, the blood ward just fails.
This is all in response to the fact that Ianthe basically tells, Ianthe's why would you write a special cursed code? You could just put a blood ward on these letters. And Harrow is like, that's a stupid strategy.
She's like, this the stupidest shit I've ever heard. Only an idiot would rely on a blood ward.
I cannot reasonably expect not to bleed for the next myriad.
Yeah, here we go. The other 22 are written in an unbreakable code that only I can decrypt, intertwined with a false chamber code that, even if merely beheld, curses you, your family, and the restive bones of your ancestors for as long as the name of Ianthe Tridentarius is whispered in necromantic hearing. 24 in all. I would have just gone with a blood ward, personally, said Ianthe. A blood ward is for those without imagination, said the astonishingly nude-faced girl. As I cannot reasonably expect not to bleed for the next myriad, I cannot rely upon a blood ward, and neither should you.
Which is, okay, first of all, I love that Ianthe's writing is a verbal eye roll. It's incredible. Yeah, but I also really think that it's funny. Harrow, this is a very good point. Anybody is going to bleed over the course of 10,000 years eventually. And Harrow doesn't even know that she's going to be almost murdered on the regular. Do you know how easy it would be to break a Harrow Hark blood ward? There's Harrow blood all over the Mithraeum.
And Ianthe would just have motivation to do it herself.
Wait, and actually, I have an interesting thought now that just popped into my head, because lictors self-heal. So, in theory, do you just have an infinite supply of lictor blood if you get a drop of it? Does it continually patch itself up?
I don't think so.
The lictors evaporate their own blood to get rid of it and basically vaporize it. They don't just suck it back up or get rid of it. They literally just turn it to dust. Yeah, now I'm just curious if you could keep lictor blood for basically forever. Maybe it wouldn't replicate, but maybe it wouldn't die either.
That's interesting.
Once it's outside the body, yeah.
Ianthe tells Harrow Hark that she is running away. The hard part is over. You answer to nobody now. To which Harrow Hark responds, if you think that you and I are not more beholden than ever, you are an idiot. And so the process moves forward. Ianthe grabs the awl and the hammer and tells Harrow Hark, time to absolutely fuck you up. When Harrow Hark is asleep after a long process that Ianthe wasn't allowed to watch, Ianthe tries to figure out what she's done. There's a few changes, but nothing obvious. And so as a last act of pettiness, she makes Harrow Hark's hair grow faster. And Ianthe says to herself, someday I'll marry that girl. It might even be good for her. Probably not, though. And then she goes to see A Man About a Queen.
Whatever that's all about.
I have a reference that I think is hilarious, which is chapter 32, page 297, which is talking about the days after the dinner party. You had not seen any great changes between him and Mercy, except that they were fractionally more short-tempered with each other. Or between him and God, or her and God. There was no embarrassment, nor any pause when they met at breakfast, or in the corridor, or clasped hands with the same warmth, or lack thereof, that they had always shown. The total absence of appropriate shame made you suspect that this had happened between them before. A thought that made you want to give yourself a lobotomy.
Haha.
Isn't that glorious? That's just a couple chapters ago. It's amazing. It's the most amazing call forward.
Oh my god.
It's a call forward to a call back.
You're right. It is technically a callback. I like this actually in the same way that the insane call forward about soup exists, because what it says is that Harrow is very consistent. Past Harrow and future Harrow have the same idea about the best way to deal with certain situations. You just cut that part out your brain. Like, yeah.
Oh my god.
I additionally want to point out that the entire time that she's walking around on the planet, she is annoyed by her hair.
Yes. We've heard
several
about the
times
hair
like
a few
this.
times.
And actually, I mean, so Marie and I have mentioned this multiple times, but we have a listener, Emily, who had a theory that I think is still very funny, that maybe Ianthe likes to do this regularly, and that's why Babs's hair and Corona's hair are so fucking, like, exactly, are so fabulous.
Oh, that's amazing.
Shit, let's get some... I could use Ianthe in my life suddenly.
Yeah.
Ianthe could use Ianthe in her life.
Anyway, my own lobotomy is about wrapped up, so if you are all finished recovering from brain surgery, it is time for a game! Interstitial. Totally fucking demented. This week, we got inside Harrow's head, which is, you know, great, but I thought it might be a good idea to delve inside our hosts' psyches. Brooke, unfortunately, vetoed the trepanning method that Hannah recommended, so instead we are playing Truth or
Gross.
Psychology. The game works like this. Each host will answer a question determined at random by a D20, and then the remaining hosts will read way too into their answers, as Freud and probably Jod intended. Okay, so it's Brooke first. What tattoo would you get?
I have to think about this. I don't fucking know. I have to pick something. There's a reason I don't have any tattoos. I don't want to commit to anything.
This is why I included you have to pick something in the...
Okay. Gun to my head, we're getting like a tiny little mandala or something. Or maybe I do one of those like weird freckles that are actually like a heart shape or a star shape or something.
Okay.
Where?
I feel like that only makes sense to do on your face.
Where?
I'm sorry, you want a face tattoo?
I'm saying if you get like a little freckle added to like, I don't know, your cheek or I don't know where you put it.
She's getting a heart
That's
freckle.
like actually a little like star or something.
A heart? She's getting a star beauty mark freckle tattoo.
Let's go for that.
Okay,
This
don't get me
is
wrong.
fantastic.
This is cutesy, but this is bizarre. I would never have guessed this for you, Brooke.
Absolutely fascinating.
Oh, I want to reverse this. Sorry, I'm taking over. What do you think I should get?
No. That is not the game.
Yeah, I already got out my fake Freud pipe here, and I'm prepping my German accent.
Okay, Freud, what do you think this means for Brooke? Because I am saying that this is simultaneously like afraid of commitment, but also when you do commit, holy shit!
Lucia, this subject picks a face tattoo. That's a terrible German accent. Holy hell.
We do have German listeners, so be careful.
Oh. They make the greatest beer in all the world.
They do. They
Recovered
do.
it. Saved it.
Okay, hold on. But I feel like this is really interesting too, because this simultaneously, it's very, very subtle. It's very like self-effacing, and it also is secretly so out there. It is, so it's like this thing of like, look how big I am, but you did not even notice. It's kind of giving Ianthe actually, where like you don't even know how fucking good I am.
I don't think you were doing a good job of being Freud and reading into my answers too much. I think you were just complimenting me, and that's very nice.
I don't know. I think I learned about Brooke.
Okay.
John, what's your ice cream order?
Ooh. On a regular basis, probably we're doing 2 scoops in a cup, especially if it's like hot and humid, because that thing's going to melt really quickly. But normally some form of cheesecake ice cream is like generally what I go with. We were recording our Baywatch episode 2 nights ago for our Patreon listeners, and my wife brought me key lime cheesecake ice cream. And that was
so
incredible.
Rude.
So I'll go with
Still mad.
key lime cheesecake ice cream, 2 scoops in a cup.
A little bit,
2 scoops in a
little bit
cup.
fruitier than I expected.
Practical. Always thinking about the thing that he loves most in this life.
Which is the wife.
Which is cheesecake.
and consistency, which means that, it's usually going to be a cheesecake ice cream, right? Like, we're not going to be stepping outside and like adventuring much, like we like consistency and stability and practicality. And there's like one thing that we really care about in this life.
What do you got, Brooke?
To me, John always like has like the initial vibe of just a very white American man.
I mean, he is.
And then he's like, key lime, we're going to go something fruity for my ice cream. We're not going chocolate or vanilla, which is like what my initial expectation always would be. It's like, no, this is going to be something a little bit out there and surprisingly fruity.
John is surprising that way. I think that's a great insight. And I do think that, so I, like Marie, the entire description of the 2 scoops in a cup, I was like, this is the most practical man alive. He has a very specific reason for his choices, whereas I just vibe things. But I agree with Brooke. This is a circumstance where he may be practical and consistent, but it surprises you. The flavor choice is not one that I would have immediately chosen. It's like deep, it's luxurious, it's interesting, it's unusual, and all of those things read John.
For me, a Pokemon I would like to have, immediately, it's Squirtle.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus. This makes perfect sense as this chaotic good person, because Squirtle's just got fucking like jetpacks strapped on his back and is ready to shoot water. This is reminding me of on occasion, there is a tiny little squirt gun that is hid behind the curtain in our bedroom, and Rob.
I'm sorry, what?
I don't know how it showed up there, but it did show up there.
Tell us more.
Well, what a peculiar weapon.
It's a squirt gun. It's a tiny little miniature squirt gun. And Rob waits until the exact moment where I have forgotten that it's there, and then he just pulls it out and squirts me when I'm laying in bed. And this is the level to which somebody who chooses Squirtle as their Pokemon is to me, except even more violent.
Right, no, but like not harmful. Like entirely prank energy, not violent energy,
good.
But like you
it
could
is
be
definition of chaotic good.
And also ludicrously cute. And also it's a starter Pokemon. This is like, I like the classics. I like the traditional, absolutely brilliant, you would not change a thing kind of, stuff.
See, my interpretation of that was, you picked a starter Pokemon, and in true Freud fashion, that just means that you want someone to fuck your mother. Because as you go on your adventure, Professor Oak slide in those DMs with your mother while you're out, on your adventure.
What just happened?
Sorry, I saw a meme yesterday. It was the Coldplay concert thing, but it was Professor Oak hugging Ash's mom, and I was just like, yes, this is the funniest thing.
No,
that's actually very funny. Actually, yesterday during our Revolutionary War tour, they had to explain to me what the whole Coldplay thing was because I am not on the internet.
Thank God you aren't.
Let's do some cross-examination of Hannah.
Okay, Hannah. if you could ride any animal, what would it be?
Oh, God, she knows
Dragon.
exactly what this is. Really? A dragon.
Does it have to be a real animal?
Immediately.
Okay.
This is just because Hannah really has a flair for the dramatic.
She's dramatic. She would like to live in a fantasy world. I see nothing wrong with this.
I would
It's
also
a
like to
little
add
bit dangerous.
Rain of Fire to our Patreon movie reviews because there's so many famous people in that. And also, like, that, I think that would be a great movie to review. And riding a dragon.
Yeah, like terrifying, but also, this makes complete and total sense. Like the danger factor doesn't like bother you at all. Like dangerous, dramatic.
Oh, she'll do anything dangerous for the drama.
For the vibes.
For the dramatic effect. Pure
For
ambiance.
the dramatic effect.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, pure vibes.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, that one didn't take a lot at all.
No.
Okay, so then, Brooke, what's your weapon of choice for the zombie apocalypse?
Can't be a squirt gun.
Why can't you give me
say
something
Hold
like
on.
ice cream flavors?
Before you get into this, so the first two questions on this were the two questions that I used to ask people regularly as a way to just meet strangers, which is what's your favorite vegetable? I believe you can learn everything you need to know about a person from their
We've
answer
done this before,
to this question. And additionally, my second choice was weapon of choice for the zombie apocalypse. And that's how you weed out
for
the
me,
real tools.
it's
Can we
a grenade.
clarify? Wait, what?
Grenades.
Grenades.
Interesting.
It is a far away, long distance situation with maximum destructive power. Mm-hmm.
I feel like this is the
Practical.
answer of someone. Yeah, but it's both.
Practical, thought it through.
It doesn't require much except just fucking chuck it.
Right. Minimum effort, maximum effect.
Yeah, minimum effort, maximum effect also is not overthinking their own skills, right? Like, to be effective with a grenade,
You need to have a little aim, and we should question
you have to have moderate aim,
moderate aim.
right? But it's not like a gun.
It's not a
where you
sharp
actually have
shooter
to have a
weapon.
skill.
No.
The other thing that I think is interesting is it's not the kind of thing that immediately makes it all about you. It's not that main character energy that I inevitably have.
you
Where
could give
it's-
off.
yeah.
You could give grenades to anybody. You could have a pack of grenades. You could like hand that off. You could like have a bushel. Give them to everybody.
But this is why I think we really want Brooke to be like running our lives. Is like she doesn't have the insane ego that I do, and she's much more like
Team player.
smart and gifted at strategizing the actual best way to get to the end.
Oh, Lord, don't put me in charge.
That's why you need to be in charge. John, tell us about your childhood stuffed animals.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't really ever have stuffed animals, but what I did have, and this can be hilarious, is just carved wooden statues from any time, like went on a trip somewhere. Like my parents would stop by like a flea market or some like local area and grab me something if they didn't take me along, or if we were together, they would buy me something. So like my room at home, my childhood room is just filled with like carved wooden animals that they've picked up over time. I have one
love that.
actually right next to me right now, which is this fish.
Oh, I love
that.
that. They're beautiful, actually.
I think my parents got me when they went on vacation a couple of years ago. It has its own little stand and everything, but it sits on my desk.
This is where you get your artistic flair from. Is your parent you weren't doing the stuffed animals? No, there was not. It wasn't. There was still gender norms in your family. It feels like, but instead of giving you GI Joes, which are the solid, not squishy stuffed animal option for boys, they got you something wooden, hand carved. There's an artistic flair here.
Crafted.
Yeah, it's all about family.
What?
Yeah. I mean,
And
he is in
sentimental. Oh,
Furious
that's true.
7.
Super
Surprisingly
sentimental.
Sentimental.
Still holding on to them.
Because they're still giving them to you as an adult. And I bet you are packing those up to move.
So I actually think this is interesting. This also is reminiscent of the story you told us about getting Redwall first editions.
Oh yeah.
That like clearly a part of your life has been tradition. And it's this tradition of gift, tradition of love. I don't know. It's both. It's really very gentle and sweet and consistent. And it does speak to family in a big way. I love
Modern
that.
day Tarzan.
My dad also loves Coronas.
The beer?
Yeah, family.
Oh, sorry. This was taking it back to Fast and
Yeah,
Furious.
sorry.
I was like, I have no idea where that came from.
Me neither. Thank you. Interesting.
Okay, a book I just couldn't get through. So, I am this was my favorite way to disassociate as a child and still is I'm an avid reader. But I was also the type of person that if I started a book, I would finish it. And it was only in the last few years that I've given myself permission
To DNF.
Yeah.
to just be like, fuck it, I don't care. But previous to this, a book that was my white whale, ironically, was Moby Dick. And I started that book and got to page, I think, 48 about 6 times before I finally made it through. But I did make it through. And yeah, I don't know. There's a reason that it's a good enough book, but there's a reason that it's hard to get through. It's mostly a whaling encyclopedia.
Just can't
But
care.
the first few pages, man, hilarious. I love the first few pages. That's why I could always make it to page like 48, and then I'd be like, "What is this?" So yeah, I don't know what does it say about the fact that I insisted that I was going to get through that book.
What does it say that your white whale is a white whale book?
Right.
Yeah. No, but this is giving the same traditionalism that the Answer Squirtle did, where you like the classics and you want to like the classics, and then you're disappointed in yourself for not actually liking the classics that much.
Yeah, this is the good student in Marie. The very, very good student in Marie. Mm-hmm.
This is Marie attempting to be lawful, and it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, this is me failing at lawful good. Yep. Yep. Okay, last one. Roll for yourself, Hannah. Okay, what is a name that you instantly distrust?
Jared. I'm sorry to all of our Jared listeners, but Jared, I don't.
Is there a reason? Do
Nope.
you know Jared?
I've never met a Jared. But if I
Really?
met one, I think I would back away quickly.
That sounds like you need to meet a nice Jared. It's a funny question to ask.
That it's like a male name.
Is this like invasive from like the Galleria of Jewelry?
It might be.
Or the pedophile?
The Subway?
From Subway. That's what it is.
All right, so
See,
without
it's
having
justified.
a real
It's
life
justified.
human, what you're left with is the materialism of diamonds and a pedophile. Neither of which suit you.
Thank you.
Well, seems like a great place to leave it. Now that we know too much about one another. And it's a good thing that we still know nothing about the Locked Tomb. So, speaking of that, it's time for rampant speculation.
Hold on.
Oh, great. What are we talking about? Hannah behind her back.
I can still hear you. I have my earbuds in.
Yeah, but you can't say anything about it. Pepper's joined the podcast.
Look how good she is! She's fully in front of the microphone.
She is a notorious seat stealer.
That's adorable.
Act 4. Tell me the details of your grim, dark, and shadowy plan. We all want to know what's happening, but I'm not the genius 3-year-old, am I? So Brooke and John, what the fuck is happening?
I don't know what the fuck's happening. We don't know what the fuck's going on with Cytherea's corpse. Nobody does. Excellent.
Yep. My rampant speculation is potentially Cytherea's body has replaced the body, but like I don't know what that means at this point because yeah.
Chronologically, then we had Ortis killing Harrow Hark. What the fuck? It seems like he was planning a mercy killing, right?
No. It's the Saint of Duty. It's not mercy.
Oh.
Yep. The Saint of
Ew.
Duty was
I'm so
planning a
sorry.
mercy killing. I did write that, and I was like, oh, like not capital M mercy, lowercase m mercy.
Whose idea was it? Like again, we just another puzzle piece. Don't have an answer. No puzzle.
Any like rampant speculation around that? Like, did you have anything that you could work with there that you felt like you could work with there?
No, because like
It's not my idea, but like it's my other personality's idea.
yeah, but why?
Versus, is this a situation where like Harrow herself, like, no, she wouldn't have run into this guy beforehand. Could God have planned this? Doesn't make sense. He didn't realize she had fucked with, unless he's a really good actor.
Well, no, but he like offers to put her in the like room with him when like everything goes down. So like he wants to try to keep her alive. Like he's offering to keep her alive unless he knows that she would never accept anyway, and it's all a facade. But yeah, nothing there.
I feel exactly like Harrow. Again, I don't think I've ever had a moment where Harrow and I like reacted in the same way, which was, whose idea was it then?
Yeah. Not sure about that. One of the things was interested, which is that God says, I never wanted the tomb open from either end. Wait, was that was
That was
last
the
week.
previous chapter.
I was rereading that. But that means there's another, like, oh my God, getting National
Access
Treasure
point?
vibes. Yeah, there's a second shaft. They would have dug a second shaft for air purposes. It's but like, not in this case, but like, there's a second way. Yeah, there's a second way into the tomb. I didn't want the tomb open from either end. I was rereading like the last chapter just to catch up because we took, our time with this. And I was just like, that's a really
No,
weird.
you know what it is? You can open it from death, I bet. Or from the river or something.
Can you like teleport? Like the space and time doesn't work in the river. So like, yeah, could you like, is there a tomb in the river as well? Also, now that you just said that, this just popped in my head. The lictors clearly know more about building in the river than they let on because, like, none of the normal necromancers know that you can, like, do anything in the river. Like, the bubble, the pocket dimension, all of that, like, fun stuff. But, like, God's clearly building shit in the river. Like, again, we talked about this last week. Like, Augustine built the barriers between the river and reality. Like, there's clearly shit that you can do in the river that, like,
There's literally wood. They were literally, like, collecting materials in the river for doing rivery war.
You could do river construction. There's something there. The Blood Ward thing, we already talked about it, but like, yeah, 100% Gideon is God's kid. Blood Wards suck. I'm with Harrow on that, especially in a world where everyone just gets stabbed all the time and doesn't die. Yanthi and the hair, motherfucker, what a petty little thing to do. Oh, that's so annoying. And then, yeah, the last thing I said is, whose fucking idea is it to kill Harrow? Like, and it has to be someone that, like, Ordis would answer to, and we still don't know who the higher power that he answers to, or God, right? Like, that was the thing, like, God says to Harrow, like, he answers to a higher power. Who the fuck is that? Is it death? Is it, like, I don't know. We don't know. So, yeah, I just feel like these chapters gave us, again, a ton of puzzle pieces, and we didn't get any closer to a lot of things. We got a little bit, but, like...
What if AL fucked with Ordis to make maybe remember AL was, like... God's buddy for a while till she got put down. So maybe this was a thing where AL was like, take care of him for me.
But how? Why?
I don't know. Just making it up.
Yep.
Because I'm trying to think of who would be more powerful than God, and the only thing that comes to is the fact that AL seems to have a power over God, like emotionally at least, and potentially power-wise. We talked about this at some point, which was. There was like some comment about God saying that all the lictors were like in a very real way, like only here because of AL or something. And it was a little, or they're all AL's children or something. I think was the phrasing.
I have a suspicion about that, but I need to flesh it out more.
Okay. Do we want to read into Ianthe needs to see a man about a queen? All I got is the Princess of Ida becoming a queen of Ida, but like I don't know why that's relevant in that moment at all. Yeah,
she's about to like text her dad. I'm like, yeah, like what's going on? Like.
And then Corona's MIA. We know that Corona, like, I guess maybe she doesn't know. Although you would have imagined the first thing when she got picked up off of Canaan House, and they were like, "Oh yeah, Corona Beth is missing." That would be like something she learned.
Yeah, maybe we're just reading for this because like all the lictors are from the first house, right? So it's not like Ianthe's no longer a princess; she's from the first house, right? Like she's not like.
Yeah, she's no longer Ianthe Tridentarius.
Yeah, so it's like just about like her sister?
Except when it's used that way.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, okay. I don't know either.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
a lot of I don't knows this week. Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll see if any of that happens in 3 weeks. Remember, we are taking 2 weeks off. When John and Brooke explore some alternate explanations in Harrow the Ninth, chapters 40 through 43.
And if you, dear listener, are like Brooke and me, reading along for the first time, make sure you find our reading calendar on our website, frontline5th.podbean.com, or follow us on Instagram or TikTok. And to support us, you can buy merch or join our Patreon, all of which are linked in the show notes. If you like this podcast, please share it with your friends and give us a 5-star rating anywhere you can. And if you don't like it, feel free to lie. Now head off to sleep, my baby necros. Mommy and Daddy have some deep spoilers to discuss.
Get in, losers. We're going speculating.
Act 5, The Other Happenstance.
Warning. This portion of the podcast is 98% spoilers and like 2% snickering.
Seriously, we will spoil anything and everything in the series up through Note of the Ninth. If that is not what you want, turn back now. Let's go. So, I kind of brought it up because I really didn't think it was spoilers, but I think that you have more to say about the body with Cytherea, because I really don't know what to think, because on the one hand, I think it was there because of Harrow's reaction to feeling Jod's magic, but then, and I think that Ianthe's reaction is that Ianthe is fucking with her. I just get the vibe that Ianthe is messing with her. But then the bone cuffs make me think it wasn't there.
No, I know. So this is, the thing that I couldn't say in front of them was that later Gideon will confront Ianthe about this. Gideon thinks that Ianthe saw Cytherea's body and gaslighted Harrow. And that's said explicitly in a couple chapters. So
but also,
Gideon
only
clearly
has Harrow's
information. That's right. But so like whether or not she thinks, but so Gideon thinks it's real is the point. And like, it's unclear to me whether or not Ianthe thinks it's real. However, if Ianthe, right. But if Ianthe had been like looking under the bed, she would have said something about the bone cuffs. There was something to see there, even if there was no body, because Harrow literally had made a physical thing to attach, Cytherea's body to the floor. And instead, Ianthe says specifically, I can't see anything. So I think the only explanation.
What am I looking at?
She starts with, what am I looking at? But she says, I can't see anything. Hold on, let me find it. It says, Ianthe sat up and brushed down her knees. She looked at you with an expression you could not parse in the diminished light, only it had been made with great care. And she said, I can't see anything, Harrow Hark. So I think the only way to read it is that Ianthe is fucking with her, but I don't know why. I don't know to what end. It doesn't make sense to me. And it still doesn't make sense to me how this body disappears and leaves the bone cuffs behind. Like, one possibility could have been that Ianthe literally moved the body while Harrow's in the bathroom and then remade the bone cuffs, but I don't think she'd be good at that. And I think Brooke's point was well made. What the fuck is the point of this entire sequence? Like, what do we learn from this? What does this change about our understanding of what's going on? And for me, if God is not lying and truly cannot sense the body on the station, that makes me wonder if Harrow's wards are somehow so good that if you're in Harrow's room, it's insensate. You can't actually access or understand it.
But nobody can. And that's the weird thing, is it shouldn't have access to necromancy.
No, it shouldn't. Yeah, I completely agree. It literally should just be a body inhabited by an invasive soul. It's some weird shit. This is, I think, a hard one to tear apart.
I really don't understand.
Yeah.
I guess the second thing is it's pretty much confirmed later on by Jod that the whole thing about attacking Harrow is commanded by Jod.
That's right.
And I feel like the why, especially as the RB gets nearer, has to be because the closer you get to the stoma, the more likelihood there is that you would get devils and empty bodies.
I love this theory, Marie. I read this morning and I was like, that's fucking brilliant, because I have always felt like this was a stupid strategy to try and get Harrow's Cavalier to pop up again. If it doesn't work the first 80 times, stop fucking trying to kill her. But I like your point here that there's still that, Giddy 1 is right. She is still a liability.
Yeah, that's why it says, don't
she is
go
double
to the river.
infectable. I think you're completely right about that. I think that's like a very, very good insight. And I did want to bring up here because
there was another thing that I didn't put in the notes that I wanted to point out, which is when she wakes up in the next set of chapters and she cries out about, we get the Book of Ruth again, and she says, if I forget you, let me forget my right hand. And that's why, and it just makes me remember this moment in the hallway of Gideon the First with frustration saying, your rapier.
Yes. But she can't, it makes no sense to her. Yeah, she can't access it. This is, so I want to give a shout out to Brooke, who actually in the course of the last section said, could it be God's idea? And then immediately dismissed it. So, almost good, Brooke.
Close.
But I also wanted to mention something. So I'm very behind on fan theories, but we had a fan, Rachel, write in a while ago about how potentially the greater power that Gideon is serving, you know, because Jod says that he's serving a power even greater than the Emperor, is Pyrrha, that Pyrrha made Gideon promise to protect John when she died and made him a lictor. So that's Rachel's theory, and I think that's interesting. But we also know explicitly that it's Jod who set up the whole murder shenanigans. I think Jod is just a practiced liar. I think it's that straightforward.
I think so. And I like that we have our Gideon callback here is, you were always such a little bitch when you were angry.
It's a very, very Gideon poking through moment and a very beautiful callback. There's actually a number of like tiny little moments here that I think are wonderful. So one that I noted, it's a stupid detail, but I love it. So in the Epiparados, Ianthe says, but Sextus's head exploded, proving to the world that he hadn't accounted for everything, which is classic dramatic irony. He had actively accounted for this.
Yep, he did actually account for that. Yep. And I did call this out because they pointed it out, and then I got to point it out to them, where I love that Harrow calls out exactly how stupid and arrogant Jod is for making
I love that John caught this.
For his super secret tomb.
I loved that John caught this. I thought this was amazing. And it is completely fucking accurate. It's not only arrogant, it's stupid. It's poor planning. Okay, so this last thing here, I have so many questions about. And so will you read what you wrote, and then I will ask many questions?
I wrote, see a man about a queen is especially interesting in light of the wedding that we know happens in Alecto. So we just know from interviews with Tamsin that one of the things she's like dropped as little crumbs for us is that in Alecto we get a wedding. We don't know what the wedding is. We don't know anything. And there are many fan theories that the wedding is between John and Corona. And that might be see a man about a queen. That is my interpretation of this line with that. But I've also been seeing some things, and I think that we just need to have a whole episode, you and I, talking about fan theories and Reddit theories and online theories. Yes. And I think it'd be really interesting if there's like a couple of people on TikTok that I think would be really cool if we could get them to like come and jabber with us.
I love that.
But there's a really interesting theory that kind of points out that while there's a lot of evidence for the John plus Coronabeth wedding, there's even more for potentially it being John and Harrow as the wedding.
Like a crossover of, you know, marrying across two nations in order to forge like one empire kind of energy.
But basically, like, there's like two creators on TikTok, and I'll have to, maybe I'll try and like tag them on TikTok when this episode comes out. That basically both of them point out all of the Lolita references and all of the Little Mermaid references, and how Jod is essentially both grooming and setting up both Alecto and Harrow, and that the dream sequences interchange and mix Harrow and Alecto together, and that is almost leading towards Harrow being the replacement for Alecto.
Both daughter and lover in this, because it's all about, which is very, very Annabelle Lee, right? This thing of like this person who's subservient to you and is your, like, you are their focus of devotion. And it's not entirely reciprocal. It's just, and it's like
very Lolita in that Alecto has grown up
and is no longer an object of love. Like you need a new young thing.
Is like the new version, and so
that's so interesting.
Which is part of like the whole thing with Lolita. Like the nymphette is only attractive until like 14, right?
Deeply horrifying, so upsetting. I also kind of in a pivot in terms of, so I like that. I think that's very interesting about, I didn't know that there was a wedding coming. So I haven't been thinking about it that way. In terms of Ianthe and Corona's plans and what she means here in See a Man About a Queen, we've had multiple fans. So we've had Evan T, Joe F, and Bethany C have all written in that they think that Ianthe and Corona's plan is to make Corona a necromancer in some way. And I think this is interesting, but I like, increasingly, my my understanding, the more I look at the little tiny pieces, is that Corona is the one in charge, actually. It's not Ianthe. Ianthe is working towards carrying out a plan that, yes, is both of their plans, but is largely Corona's plan. I actually think that she is the big bad in this. So I don't think it's about trying to make Corona something she's not. I think it is about uplifting Corona as she is. And I could see trying to make Corona the emperor. Like, that makes some weird sense to me.
Yeah, I don't know that it would be to make Corona a necromancer, because she doesn't need to be to have the power that she does.
I think that's right. But I also think it's still a really, really interesting question, is like, how do you give necromancy to everyone? And is that part of what they are trying to do? And so in the context of Ianthe saying this, saying, I'm going to go see a man about a queen, it's weird. It is on Erebos, right? So the only people she could go see are ostensibly in the cohort or Jod. So I just don't know who she's interfacing with, because there's something more interesting if she's interfacing with Blood of Eden. But our understanding of the timeline is that this has to have happened after Harrow talks to Jod the first time, which is at the very end of Gideon the First in the epilogue, which means they are already on a spaceship. They're already on the Erebos. So I have no idea who she's talking to or what her goal is, but it's such a fucking interesting line.
And it's funny that you say that, because I always forget that it's on the Erebos and that it's not on the Mithraeum yet. And so the options to me were always Jod or Augustine. And so I was always just thinking that she's going to go talk to Jod. But actually, it opens it up if what she's going to do is she's going to go talk to somebody in the cohort. And
that's
what she's doing is machinations against Jod.
I'm also gonna forward to Frontline Fifth a piece of merch that our merch queen made, ironically, that just says, I went to the Erebos and all I got was this lousy lobotomy.
That might be my first purchase. And I will wear it and nobody will know what I'm talking about. But when I do wear it, there's no way that you could see somebody wearing that they wouldn't talk to you about it. So I will find my people when I wear it.
Right. People either will avoid you or they'll be like, I need to know more. I must know more.
Oh my God. I am so excited.
Okay. All right. Maybe we'll have to actually make Sonia adjust that so we can actually, because she sent it to me as a joke. She's
no, we have to, I have to have that. I have not yet bought anything from the store. That is my first purchase.
So yesterday I went out to a beer garden with John and some of our friends. And then I also went over to a friend's house for a party. And I came this close to wearing the sexiest bone dress. And then I was like, I actually don't know if Josh would be okay with me out in public as we go on our historical tour of the Russell House in the sexiest bone coccyx covered dress.
Come on, man.
I'm sure you guys should have done it. Everyone would have loved it. It's talk about a conversation starter.
It's subtle. Act 5. Act 6.
6.
See you next time, my little nunlets. Well, it looks like we have direct access to Harrow's brain now, so we'll be back August 18th with some of Harrow's alternate universes in Harrow the Ninth Chapters 40 through 43. If you want to follow along with us, our reading calendar is available on our website at frontline5th.podbean.com, and you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok, which are linked in the show notes. If you enjoyed this podcast, please tell your friends and give us a 5-star rating anywhere you can. And, of course, if you didn't enjoy the podcast, feel free to lie. We have a Patreon, which you can join for access to bonus content and bone content every month. You can become a patron, and their lobotomies are always done with such precision at patreon.com/frontline5th, and you can check out our merch at our Redbubble store, linked in the show notes. Finally, if you have any fun theories you'd like to share with us, feel free to email us at frontline5th@gmail.com. With that, I'll just remind you not to unlock any tombs or enter any doors without permission because, ghosts. Bye!
Frontline Fifth is a Locked Tomb podcast conceived by Marie Adamako and starring Marie Adamako, Hannah Grunwald, Brooke Anderson, and John Ryan. Our cover art was designed and created by Marie Adamako, who also edited this episode. Our fabulous music was composed and recorded by Blake Anderson. Sonia Grunwald designs our killer merch. Hot! Gorgeous! The Locked Tomb series is a completely dope-ass book series by Tamsin Muir, who does not know we exist and is in no way affiliated with this podcast.